Well, welcome to the hot seat. Whoa! Rafiq and I changed the name of the show. It's the hot seat.
We are immediately changing it back.
And today on the hot seat, we've got... Say your name.
Tony GAUD. Oh, this seat's so hot.
Oh, it's burning his bottom.
Flames are insane.
Welcome to So How About This? My name is Alan Dempsey. That guy right there, his name is...
Rafiq Sheen.
And Tony GAUD introduced himself already. Tony GAUD, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a little while.
You look super, man.
Oh, because I have a Superman shirt on.
Look at that.
So what you did is you took the thing I was wearing, but you made it a different thing.
And
about
I said it
You
back.
said it back to me.
Right,
Oh, my God.
Observational comedy 101. I saw a thing and then I turned it into a joke.
Take it easy there, Clark Kent. That's from the glasses.
Because I also wear glasses. Oh my God, this is going to be a fantastic episode.
What's happening, man?
What you got going on in your comedy world, Tony GAUD?
Well, you know, mostly depression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's big bucks in that now.
But
So, yeah.
you know what? That's the thing. It's like you see somebody open up that floodgate. You're like, oh man, finally! Here we go!
I can monetize all of
Let
this.
all the tears out. And laughter.
Oh, yeah, depression. Oh, it's fun.
It's funny that you say that because literally talking about monetizing depression, somebody posted in the Tampa Bay Comedy Forum a thing about like laughter behind the tears, and Gary Goldman just released
pulling out,
The Great Depression. So
Yeah, exactly.
Laughter behind the tears. That sounds like something. That sounds like something somebody wrote thinking it was fucking brilliant. Like, no one knows that comedians are sometimes depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the genius that exposes that rare, crazy idea.
No one's heard this before. Hey, Robin Williams, how are you?
hanging off a
Yeah,
short
man.
rope.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Man.
Everything just took a turn.
Too late? Too late? Is that
Too late?
Too late.
Too
yeah.
late? Not soon
like
enough?
that.
Not soon enough?
You know what's funny? Speaking of too late, I still, when I do the joke on stage, I have a joke about Princess Diana, and people still go like, and like boo in the audience. I'm like, what? How
Wasn't
fucking
that
long?
like 96?
Yeah, like how fucking long do we have to wait for this bitch to like be dead before we can talk about her?
I think the problem is that it's like you can't use historical references anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's like, that is
Lincoln got
offensive.
shot. Oh.
There was a civil war. Hold on, pal. Let's just take it easy.
I did not come here to hear Lincoln jokes, okay? You leave George Washington's wooden teeth out of this.
Right, you should hear my hot 25 on Cleopatra. Like, how racing does that get?
Whoa.
No, man.
Fucking your mom like Nero. All right, so I was given a request, and I don't really care about the request, but I do find this fascinating. I want to know, we have a mutual friend, Brian Tyson.
Okay, yeah.
What was the music project? Was there a music project that you worked on with him? How much of this are you willing to talk about?
Tyson. I'll tell you the whole story.
And by the way, he's a good friend of mine, so
Listen.
old family friend. But I'm also not unaware of who he is. So I'm just.
You call him
completely.
You call him Brian Tyson.
Oh, or do you call him DJ Flying Brian?
I call him Flying Brian.
Okay, I do remember DJ Flying Brian.
Man.
Okay.
I met Brian when he was in school.
Mm-hmm.
I was out. I was done. I'm older than him. But back when he was in high school, and he was living with his dad, and like his dad had a garage.
We had the studio in the garage. I remember that.
Well, he had the studio upstairs in this room.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So Brian is. So I don't even remember how we exactly met, but Brian was just amazing, a DJ.
Okay.
and he was like the best.
He was and still is. He's a talented motherfucker.
Kid you not. He was like, he's one of the best DJs to this day. And this was back in the 80s,
Little skinny white kid.
This,
and
yeah.
he could cut.
You would not even imagine. Like and I took him into the studio because it's like back then, not like today, where you could do everything in your home on a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go into a studio. You had to pay for studio time. You had to pay for the reels. You had to pay for an engineer.
Right.
So you had to pay for everything. And so I saved up money, and I got some blocks of time. And we would go in the studio, and Brian would come in, and he would actually, he would cut live.
Wow.
Like the stuff. We have the demos. I still have the demos. And you can listen to him, and he's cutting those things that you're hearing. Those are him cutting live, man.
Wow.
So it was it was amazing. So it was one of those things where you're like, man, I mean, I haven't talked to him in a bit, and I actually talked to another friend of ours, Alvin, Funk Ghost.
I'm not aware of Alvin the Funk Ghost.
He's not Alvin the Funk Ghost. He's Funk Ghost. But no, he's because we all came up at the same time. I had my partner was Rob. I don't know, you probably met Rob before, Beatbox Rob, and
I have met him in Ybor, which that speaks a lot about Ybor. That you go Beatbox Rob, and I'm like, that's
Beatbox
where
Rob.
I know
that
that
guy.
You know that guy's a
Beatbox
Rob, that guy with the beatbox. So we would go and Brian was our DJ, and so he would come in.
What were you doing?
Oh, what do you think? I'm the lead rapper, man.
Oh, okay. You were kicking the funky rhymes.
Of course. Yes.
Were they funky fresh rhymes?
They were funky fresh rhymes.
Okay.
They were funky. As a matter of fact, I think we did. We made a song called "Make It Funky."
Of course you did.
It's very 80s.
Which means you're telling me it aged perfectly.
Yeah. It's got all the James Brown samples and everything.
Oh yeah.
Man. So it was cool though. But no, we made some cool music together, man. But he went on. Now he owns his own studio. He's got a producer.
Full music career. I think he still lives in my brother's house.
Well,
I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a while.
I probably just said something I shouldn't have.
Listen, we're trying to avoid it. But
this is where the West Coast,
he's got gold records and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's serious, man.
But didn't you guys get close to having a real record deal?
Yeah,
or something?
we came close to getting a deal with Atlantic Records back in the day. This is comedians. None of the comedians in Tampa know any of this.
That's why
they don't know. Here's how much they know about me. Nothing.
That's why I brought this up, because I wanted to know.
Most people don't know
to talk about.
No, I don't care, man. It's my history. The difference is I don't go out and brag about it. Mm-hmm. It's like I'll talk about it because it's part of my history and it's a good history. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of good fun and we made a lot of good stuff.
I've known you for a hot minute, and I have.
Oh,
I'm listening to this. Is this like a Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch thing that's going on right now? Or
matter of fact, I met Marky Mark when he was with the Funky Bunch.
Nice.
So that's another story.
Was your group? Was it all white dudes?
Well, Brian's white, Rob's white. I'm half Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And then the Alvin, their group was. Originally was called Black Saturday, which I thought they should have kept that name. They changed it, and that's a different thing, man.
What was your group called?
Our group was Deuces Are Wild.
Deuces Are Wild.
Deuces Are Wild.
Okay. So I have vague memories of this.
Yeah.
Knowing Brian, he was my brother's best friend for ages.
So you might have heard a couple of our tracks.
I probably did.
Yeah.
I have these vague memories of my brother telling me they got a record deal. This is real.
We were like,
and then one day it just wasn't real anymore.
It's very that's the thing, man. It's like you can't get too hyped up over things because it's never done until it's done.
Yeah, right. Until ink's on paper.
Not even then until you get your first paycheck. Until you put something in the bank, then it's
even
real.
then, no.
Even then, it can change.
Because I know there's always those stories about one of my favorite artists. He has a story about getting this giant advance, and then something fell through, and he had to give money back their giant advance.
And that's the thing with a lot of people don't understand with the music industry. Like you see all the flash, that's advanced money. Mm-hmm. That's a loan to the artist. So that money has to come before they get another paycheck, before they see any royalties. All that money has to be paid back to the record company.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people don't understand that. And that's why you see some of these guys go on the road as long as possible, because that's where they're making money. You know,
so
they're making.
You're telling me Justin Bieber is not as rich as I thought he was?
Well, actually, Justin Bieber is probably richer than you think.
Right.
But, I mean, in general, he's still around. His music is still selling.
Well,
then you see these guys where they first come out, and you're like, oh, I've never seen who this guy is. And he's got all this money. You know, he's got everything that's these like highly polished videos. He's got all the bling. He's got the fancy car. All of that is to advance him to the next step. But if he don't get there, all that money that they spend on him, he has to pay back.
One of my favorite rappers right now is a dude called Little Dicky.
He's good, man.
He's got a song called "Save That Money."
Yeah. I was playing that the other day.
Yeah. The whole premise is he shoots an entire music video
without
for as cheaply as possible. So he's like knocking on people's doors. He goes to another rapper's music video to get his audience in the background of his shots.
Nice.
Now and I hate to point this out, the only reason he could do that was because he's a white dude.
Yeah.
He looks very non-threatening.
Yeah.
So he was going into rich neighborhoods, which if he was a black guy knocking on doors like that,
Right.
they wouldn't have asked it. They wouldn't have said, "Oh no, we're not going to do that." They would have. You better get off my property. It would have been a whole different thing, a whole different video.
Right.
But no, it's a funny video, man. It's good.
He's a good artist.
He's actually really good, man. Yeah. But yeah.
So
how far did you get? Did you guys ever perform? Did you?
Yeah, I've been performing at every stage as I've come along since I was a kid. But I performed back in high school. I actually had a group, we had a group in school, and that's a whole story right there, because this was in 1985, 86, before any of this stuff was popular, before anybody was doing anything with it. I was the only white rapper, color-wise, skin tone-wise, that you knew about besides Beastie Boys in this city. So it's like nobody else. So it's like everybody knew who I was. And we actually set up a whole thing in school. We had a group called Positive Control. And
that's a good band name.
No, sounds familiar. I feel like I know some of this.
Yeah, well, because we made the front page of the school paper.
Whoa!
Whoa! Back up, man! Back
don't
up.
Too much.
Listen,
now,
take it easy. Take it easy, okay?
Easy.
But we were very popular in the school because we would perform. I set up a deal. I literally went into the principal's office. I kid you not. We sat down at a big old table. And I think the only reason I could do this was because this guy was Italian, and I think he's dealt with other people like this.
Okay.
So I was like, listen, I want to do this group. We have this group, and I want to be able to, because I was trying to get it turned into an official club.
See, now I'm picturing the scene like he's got a white hat on his leg.
Dude,
come to me in my school.
I was trying to get it set up so we were like an official club, so that we would have like our own page in the yearbook, which we ended up getting all over the yearbook anyways. But I was like, we even brought in a girl to be our secretary. This girl that we knew said, "Will you be the secretary?" I said, "Yeah, okay." We got a secretary already. All had titles. Like roles, okay. I'm the freaking president.
I've got Tony Soprano on the other side of the table.
I set up that we could meet like when they had club day. You know how you have club day at school? Mm-hmm. I could pull the group out of class like everybody else left class.
Nice.
And we got to have our club meeting. So we got to use like the chorus room or the band room, whichever was open. Mm-hmm. So we'd like hang out for an hour just rapping and beatboxing and just goofing off. I used to go get my beatbox because the group had 3.
Okay.
We had 3. Rob was a carryover because Rob's from the neighborhood. We grew up together. But we had like 3 beatboxes in the group, and we would perform at all of the pep rallies. I set up a deal so we get to perform at all the pep rallies and the school events. So like, okay, but you have to make it about something, like educational or positive, and that's where we came up. That's how I came up with the name Positive Control. I said, well, our group's name Positive Control. So he's like, okay, I like that.
He just damn this poor person.
Yeah. Dude,
Jimmy is an A+.
Yeah, right. But it was cool, man. It's like we actually performed at the biggest, like in front of the whole school, so everybody was familiar who we were. We would hang out. They used to make us disperse, like at lunchtime and right after school, because at lunchtime we would stand in the corner there and perform and battle. We'd have people come from other schools to battle us.
Okay.
Like this is like real back in the day.
Let me name drop.
Oh shit.
Let me name drop my school. So I went to King.
I remember King, yeah.
And we used to have people all the time come from Tech, which is right down the road.
Uh-huh.
So we would battle all the time. And
that's crazy.
The crowd would get so large that you couldn't pass through the hall. So the vice principal would come and they'd have to break it up. Okay, you guys got to disperse. We're blocking the hall. We got another lunch coming. Mm-hmm. So we had to. We got a sec. We got
so
second
you just
lunch
had to go down to Tech.
Yeah. So we did. We've gone to Tech too. Yeah. Like we take off because it was open campus back then too.
Right.
This was at the end of open campus. So we did all that, man, and then from there, like everybody kind of went their own ways. But no, we were hot in school, and then after I graduated. And I came back. I moved away because I went into the Army, got kicked out, came back to Tampa. That's when I met Brian, and that's when me and Rob hooked back up, and we started doing demos, man. And we got close to a record deal with Atlantic. I got close to having Alvin and his group signed. I had the A&R lady. She was coming out regularly to the shows. They basically want to see the progression, but things fell through, man.
So if you don't mind me asking, because this is the thing I'm always curious about with bands, because they always say like things fell through and then nobody elaborates on. What do you feel like was the thing that fell through?
Well,
like what do you go?
Here's why
Brian was doing shots.
Here's why they just say things fell through. Because a lot of stuff happened, man. Like it's hard to just say one thing. There's not one thing, because we had an opportunity as the rap group with Deuces of Wild. We had a decent look at getting a record deal. But the truth was they were better acts coming up. So they were going to pay their attention elsewhere. You start to cool off if they don't. If they're seeing something hotter, and there was hotter stuff going on. That's when everybody was breaking at that point. We were pretty novice compared to where everybody else was, as far as like putting together a solid production that stands out. It's like, okay, this is different. We were right in the mainstream of it, so we weren't that different.
Gotcha.
So that kind of fizzled, but at the same time, I had directed their attention to Black Saturday, who had at that point changed their name to Tap, Ghost, and Phobia, and they were really strong in the scene, man. They made the like back in the early days, the Tampa Bay compilation CD that they would put out every year. Mm-hmm. This is like in the early 90s, mid 90s, and I think I still have a copy. But they were really getting a good buzz, man. And then so I had the A&R paying attention to them. I had a couple other people looking at them. I mean, they were really, really close to sign it.
I'm telling you this right now. The next time we have Tony on, we have got to play all of this music at some point.
That's
I got a lot of it. Some of it's online. As a matter of fact, one of the let me finish this story. I'll get to the song. But so Tap Ghost and Phobia were doing really great as far as performance, but they got involved with other people that instead they had more interest in riding their coattail
Gotcha.
than like putting them on top. So they kind of went through their own thing, and that pulled them away from the record deal because because I tell you, man, if anybody were to break out of here at that time and have become a huge thing on the scene, that would have been the group, because they were so original, so solid. Their stuff I'd still play today. I still, to this day, and this is like 20 years ago, over 20, it was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Their music still holds up to today's music. It's just that size. It's quality, man. It's quality writing, quality sampling, quality music, the beats and everything like that. Well, after that was done, I had been evolving into what would become the rock rap rage. You know what I'm saying? The mid-90s, the rock rap rage. So that's where I was, and it was actually it was going pretty good because now I had a live band, and originally I was working at the Ritz Theater, and I was a bartender, a barback bartender. That's where I met Marky Mark, by the way, because he came to perform.
There's no point in time where I will never have a small bit of pleasure at hearing the term Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And I'll tell you, as a side note, I know everybody keeps talking trash, man, but the guy was cool with me, man. I'll tell you, man. I'll tell you right now. As a matter of fact,
he offered me some Calvin Kleins.
Well, I mean, dude, he's pretty ripped, man. But so I walked because I was taking care of the bands. I was taking care of the writers in the dressing room and everything. So I went back, introduced myself. That's what I do all the time. Go back, introduce, talk, see what they need. As soon as I walk in, he gets up, walks across the room, and shakes my hand, and introduces himself.
Nice.
So I mean, that was like that right there told me everything I needed to know. I was okay. This guy is like he's straight up. He's cool. It's like he's not assuming that I know anybody, that he's bigger than anybody else, or at least at that time, because I mean that was one of those things where you hear everybody talking trash. Like, this guy's such, he's a jerk, he's an asshole, it's like, oh, he's pretty cool to me, man. Maybe because I was bringing him drinks or something. I don't know, man. But
you see that at least at my job, you see that all the time, because there's like acts that come through and play, and you're just like,
you got famous people all the time over there.
And it's like most of the time, hey, guess what? Like, they're not actually assholes. They just don't want to be bothered by a stranger.
Well, that's the thing. You only hear about them being assholes when the person on the other side of the camera is being a dick. It's like, why is this guy being such a dick? Well, because you got a camera in his face, and he's grocery shopping.
But one of my favorites is like Tobey Maguire. Like, it's around the time of like Spider-Man 3. People are like, he's like at an intersection and they're surrounding his car, like photographing him. He starts going, it's like, get the fuck away! Like, I'm driving.
All of a sudden he says, Lady Diana.
Right.
Too late. But no, we did pretty, as far as the music goes. That last stretch was really fun with the band, and that music's on the I got a couple of the songs online from the demo. Like, we never really made.
I was just trying to look for it while you were talking. I couldn't find it.
Well, the name of the band actually is Resin Torque.
I thought it was Deuces Are Wild.
No, that's not online.
Okay.
That's
what's
archived. I have to bring that to you. That's archived, man. That's on cassette. Let me tell you how old that is. It's on cassette. Do we have a cassette player?
That's back when we stored music on little magic.
little magic pieces of. But
I was watching a show recently.
Look up "Peace Bastard" is the name of the song. "Peace Bastard."
Peace.
That's the song I did, and the name of the group was Resin Torque.
Didn't you did a script on using the title
I
Peace
did,
Bastard
which leads us into the future.
This is an idea that we just couldn't get away from. The old Peace Bastard.
Well, that's the whole thing. I did that. I actually created a short screenplay. It's about 13 pages long, and it's based on the song that I wrote, which originally was a spoken word piece that I wrote, and I turned it into a heavy song, like it's hardcore. So I took the first verse and I used it in the script. Okay. So the main character is performing this in a talent show. He's performing at an audition for the city talent show that the senator is a guest judge at, and the senator is about to sign an order to cut the benefits to the military, because it's about veterans, war veterans. When they're at war, they're heroes, but in peacetime, what are they? They're of no use. So that was the whole thing. That was the whole thing of the song. It's really good. I don't know if you could play it. If you could play it, play it, man.
You mean this? Oh, that would be so much better.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Just gone.
This is running an ad.
I will not fight this war. This war is unjust. To get justice, he'd have to go outside the military.
Is it who? Is it?
No, yeah, that's it.
I told him like I'm telling you now.
It's the beginning. That's from a
There's a picture of somebody holding a mic. I don't
That's
know
me.
if that's you. Is that you?
Public Enemy shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is me.
All I'm thinking about is how I'm going to rip this audio later to make this work for the episode. That's all I'm thinking about. Nice. That holds up, man. It's good.
Yeah.
It's the Black Crowes. And the break is Metallica reversed.
And you did this in like the 90s, right?
Was that in like 94, 93?
Yeah, I was thinking, because I was like, this definitely feels like a 90s song.
It's got drives, man. It's got that drive.
Good.
Wait till it gets to the break, you'll love it. It's for the metalheads. And I got a skinhead part in there too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What? Okay. This?
Yeah. We used to have...
What song is that from?
I can't remember the name of the song, but I know it's Metallica. I remember it's Metallica.
Wow.
Yeah, we reversed it and flipped it.
So you reminded me. I don't remember how old I was. Maybe 8th, 9th grade. But you reminded me. I might have been younger. I might have been more like 6th grade. There was a. They were doing a contest. It was like your teacher tells you if you want to write this thing, they're having a contest, and it was about like disabilities. Like write a thing about somebody having a disability. So something in me, I wrote this like short play about this kid with a bad stutter who wanted to be a rapper. And the whole time I was writing it, I was thinking like of an episode of like Family Matters. I was making it real schmaltzy and I was following the exact kind of structure. And normally on a show like that, everyone encourages them, and then they get up on stage and they do it, and it's fine. But in mine, the kid got up on stage and just stuttered his whole way through it and never got one line out. and then when he got on stage, like I still ended it positively. Like everybody was like, "It's okay. Sometimes you can't do everything."
He was encouraged.
But I couldn't stop laughing at the idea of him getting on stage full of confidence, and then he's just and he can't get anything out.
So basically, you created Jimmy from South Park before.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
That's it. The original.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
I gotta say, it is this one in particular is kind of interesting because not only do both of you have such a long career in this, but like both of you have so many multifaceted talents that you've worked on over the years. Like as long as I've known you, I didn't even know about the rap thing, but like we did a movie together. Billy's Got a Bad Braid, and like I know you've been a writer and an actor, you know, and I know Alan's been a writer and he's been working on comic books. So, like...
Are you aware of the hardcore band that I was in when I was, like, 16?
You got to record it? You got some music?
Now that I'm probably not going to be able to pull it up because my thing at home is dog shit. But I could, if this works, I can pull up the demo that we cut when I was a kid.
You have to get
16, 17.
I'll have to give you a sample of the other stuff, man. It'd be like, oh my god, this is terrible.
We started.
This is why you didn't get signed, man.
We started as Weirdo, and then we changed our name to Sick Bay. And
Nice.
This is not going to work because it never does. I've got a home hard drive that you're supposed to be able to access, but I never can't access it. And I've like called them 100 times, being like, "Hey, you sold me a piece of shit that never works."
Did you ever hear of a band around here back in the day? It's called Mega Smegma.
I never heard them, but I know that name. I had friends that would
awesome.
see them and tell them about
Yeah,
them.
that was awesome, man. That was so.
That's one of the
crazy.
cool thing about Tampa is like we're the biggest little city no one gives a shit about.
Here's
like,
the thing about this is what I always say about Tampa. People, you know, it's a real easy punchline. Oh, Tampa's stupid, you know. But it's like everything I ever wanted to be into was here.
It's here, yeah.
Right,
When I wanted to be in a metal band, I was in a metal band. When we transitioned into hardcore, it was because hardcore made its way down here.
Yeah.
I wanted to do stand-up, and I walked right into it. There were no, like, I didn't have to
Everything is
build
available.
anything, you know. If you want a fruity, arty community, we got it. If you want, you know, we've always had a pretty, even in the times when it was rough to be this way, we always had a pretty thriving gay community.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's always,
you know,
as a matter of fact, and here's something that a lot of people don't know, that Ybor, the whole thing of Ybor, where it is now, they owe that to the gay community.
oh, I don't doubt it.
Straight up. I'll tell you why. Because back in the day when I was working down there at the Ritz, this was in the early 90s, there was nothing down there. There was like a handful of places. Nobody would come down there. It was all the locals. There were like a couple clubs, a couple of the restaurants, and that was it. Nobody was down there.
This is back when they had that little, that they called the strip, where all the punk rock kids hung out? Is that what you're
Everything
talking
was
about?
right there. Well,
Yeah.
7th Avenue.
Yeah.
That was it. And it's like, I don't know if there was a place down there, they used to call it the Honeycomb Hideout, but there was
I think the Honeycomb is still there.
the Star Club.
Honey Pot.
Do you remember the Star Club?
No.
The Star Club was a little sliver of where Green Iguana was. It was almost like a hallway with a stage at the end.
Okay.
And there was a lot of underground shows, punk bands. Green Day played there.
Back when they were nobodies.
Back when they were driving around in a little
Yeah.
van. They played there and they stayed at my friend's house.
There's a documentary. There's a documentary about, I haven't seen it yet, about the 80s Tampa scene.
Yeah.
The 80s. And again, it's like that Tampa's a punchline, but in this I haven't seen it yet, but I've read about it. Like, in this documentary, it was well known among the punk community, like, be careful when you go to Tampa, because those people are nuts.
Yeah.
And like when punk shows would
They had a
come
scene,
through,
man.
when punk shows would come through, they would get violent and fucking weird.
It was hardcore. It was real hardcore. Well, Brass Mug, you too played Brass Mug.
No, I didn't know
Really?
that.
Okay, yes.
Wow.
On their first American tour, they played the Brass Mug.
That's crazy.
But what happened with Ybor is the club, what was it called? It was across from the Ritz. It was El Goya before, and then it became.
Isn't it the Bricks now or like the?
No. This is across the street
Okay.
from that, but that used to be a big gay club, and they were there. I mean, it was a huge, awesome club. We used to go over there like after we close up at 3:00 and we'd go over there and hang out. and party some more, because they just all hanging out and shit. Well, on Thursday nights, it became somehow unofficially it became like college night.
Okay.
So all the college kids would start showing up on Thursday nights at the gay club because it was so huge and so cool. They had great music.
I kind of remember this.
Remember?
Like it was.
Well, they had
like the most homophobic dude you knew was like, oh, we can go on Thursday.
Sink or swim night.
I kind of remember this.
Sink or swim.
Yeah.
And they'd have like so you'd go and you get a mug and you had sink or swim and you drink.
Nice.
And you pay at the door and then you drink all night. So we'd go get and the college kids would start coming out there. Well, because there were so many people down there now, and people wandering around, other places started to open up, other like little restaurants and little shops. So it started to build on that, and the cops would actually start to show up because they wouldn't show up, man. They have a station down there now, but they wouldn't even show up. Like we'd have concerts, people would get beat up in the pit. Mm-hmm. You'd have to drag them out. You'd like call the cops. Hey, we need the cops down here. There's a guy sitting on the sidewalk bleeding. Well, the guy kicked in the door. There's like glass everywhere. There's blood everywhere. He's bleeding.
Oh, jeez.
Half hour later, the cops stroll up. So what happened? Oh, this guy's almost dead, I think. He's got a loss of blood. But it was one of those things where it just slowly built. And then the shops that came in, like the record store, Blue Chair Records.
I remember.
That was awesome. Tom Rowe used to run that, and he was the critic for the Creative Loafing back in the day. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the chief editor, I think he's the chief editor for Creative Loafing now in Tampa. Scott, he's my guitarist.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, Rafiq, you'll never know what Ybor was in the early mid '90s. It was the coolest place in the world.
It's a place that you want to be.
Yeah, it was not commercial.
It wasn't New Orleans.
And there was this one little area now that there's, I think it might even be where Centro Ybor was. It was this just gap.
Pizza.
And on your
Ybor
left,
pizza and beer.
There was this. Everyone called it the Strip, and it was like between two streets. There was just this like weird little gap,
it's
and
like parking.
lined with stores, and that's where all the punk rock kids hung out.
And there was
you
always
just walk into that area, and before you knew it, you were in a conversation with a total stranger. Yeah. And it was just that's where everybody just sat around.
Drum circles out there all the time.
Wow!
And right there, right where the club is, where all that stuff is now, like the Central Ybor. None of that was there. That was right next to the club was Ybor Pizza and Subs. Ybor Pizza and Subs. You go in, you get a good big old slice, and they had a friggin' video game in the back, and they had a foosball table back there, and it was like $3. You get a slice of pizza and a drink, and all that's gone. But that's all it was. It was all the building was closed.
I will say this, so I started coming around Ybor around the 2000s, right? Because I was going to college
Centro
here,
was already built by that point,
right? And I hear the stories of the heyday, and I look at it now, and even as I look at it now, I go, there's definitely a spirit or a vibe that has been leaking out of that place for a hot minute. You know what I mean? Because, I remember when I first got there, it was there's a little bodega over here, and, there's a, gay bar over here, whatever. And now I go there, I'm there's a 7-Eleven and, a Starbucks, I think.
Yeah. It's still, I don't feel like it's completely fallen apart yet. I mean, what's weird about it is that the antibodies, when Centro first happened, there was a gap there. That gap bombed. Nobody wanted a gap there.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's still definitely a spirit of that weird popsicle place, Hippo or whatever it's called. Places like that pop up in Ybor, but the gap doesn't make it. Nobody wants a goddamn gap.
Yeah, I think you have better luck if it's like a food venue or something like that.
But even then, nobody would want a Chili's.
No, it has to be something. It has to be something unique, with a theme. Or something that has that's it's got that unique little flavor. Oh, this is unusual,
right?
I'll go in there.
Well, I mean, like hamburger, but I mean, like I still kind of feel like the spirit's leaving because, like, Hamburger Mary's, for example, was up there for a hot minute, but like it's no more.
Well, what's up there now?
Nothing.
Well, there was something there before that too. So that's not the first place that was there.
Yeah. I'm just saying when you're talking about like an original theme.
Yeah.
You know, I go Ebor's getting closer and closer to being like, yeah, why don't we try a Chili's? I mean, there's a Buffalo Wild Wings down there now, so like, how original can the spirit be anymore?
When you start to see them clear out areas from the other streets, you're like, okay, here we go. Something's about to come up, man.
If you want to talk about like
by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Boy, those wings are delicious.
Great. You should try the ones on 7th Avenue on Ebor's. They're really great.
No, if you want to talk about being in Tampa and being able to find whatever you want to find, it occurred to me as you guys were talking, it wasn't just that I found metal and I found hardcore.
You also found Jesus.
I was specifically, it was the Christian metal scene. And all the bands that I was listening to showed up in Tampa at least once.
Wow.
These bands, so think about how small death metal is, and then think about how small Christian death metal is, and I saw all those bands.
Well, you got to think that most of death metal actually came out of Tampa, out of Brandon specifically.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like they're not going to come to the homeland. You know, we got to go to the suburbs, Brandon, man.
But I basically discovered with my friends, we discovered in the late, early 90s, Christian metal was getting really good. And bands like Vengeance and Deliverance and Living Sacrifice and those guys were popping up. And it just so happened that there was a church here that supported that stuff. And so they were bringing and it was just, again, I grew up in a city where everything I was into, I found with minimal effort.
That's cool.
You know,
we got to open for a couple of metal bands.
Like who?
Actually, I had Tap Ghost and Phobia open them back when they were Black Saturday. Because I was managing them on the side. I had them opening for bands. We opened for the Hardcores and Infectious Grooves. These are like, you don't probably know them now. But yeah, they were like, running the circuit and everything. And the lead singer from Infectious Grooves was from another group. Was it Suicidal Tendencies? I think he was also a lead from Suicidal Tendencies.
I can't remember.
But yeah, there was a couple different groups. Black Saturday had opened for, they'd done shows with Mortuary.
Oh, wow.
These guys like that. Yeah, it was like that. I got
That's
posters.
a hell of a show.
I got flyers, man. I'll have to show you the flyers, man. I still got the flyers. That's pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's pretty dope.
It's crazy stuff, man.
It's just about that time on How About This?
Oh.
So How About This? Where we introduce you to someone that how do we feel about this guy? Do we love him? Do we hate him? I don't know anymore.
So I've come to the conclusion that I hate what he stands for.
Okay.
But I kind of respect who he is.
Do I want to know this?
I feel
he's been around so long. You might have actually worked with him.
First of all,
here we go.
Coming in, I thought to myself, Tony might know this guy.
It's gonna get me in trouble.
No. I feel, Rafiq, like you don't respect him. I feel like maybe you've gone through some trauma.
You think this is like a Stockholm syndrome thing? Where I'm just like, no, I love him. Like,
there's some Ed-related trauma that we need to address. Tony, it's time for me to pass across the table for you. Oh, are we filming this? Is this how important this is?
Picture.
Okay. I wasn't saying anything. Tony, just your reactions to this as I pass
Who is this?
across the table to you.
I can't see. I'm gonna put on my glasses.
Oh.
Ed, the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
What? Regine?
Yeah.
yep.
I don't think I've ever seen him. Well, you got his autograph.
I sure do.
Is he funny?
Well, you're about to find out.
Tells 100 of the funniest jokes he ever heard.
He's ever heard. Uh-huh.
So basically, he's a hack that recorded all the jokes that he stole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's
I like
put it
him
this.
already.
If he stole these jokes, he probably should have just left them where he found them. But I will say this for all Ed, because I didn't know this. Apparently, he was in a Quentin Tarantino movie that just recently came out.
He was the waiter in the newest Tarantino film.
Really?
Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Or Mexico, whatever it's called.
Mexico.
Hollywood. Yeah, and I didn't notice him. That which hurts my heart, because if I had seen him,
Oh my God.
I would have freaked the fuck out.
How did he get that part?
Well, if you look him up on IMDb, he's like in the background of a lot, like with Tom Hanks movie and a Tarantino movie. Like he's, he says a couple words in a lot of movies.
I think he was in like Wag the Dog.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And like,
I saw some movie I'd never heard of.
He's got an agent that's getting him seen, man.
Yeah.
I never even heard of the movie, but it was like on the poster was Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts. Man,
really?
I've lost all care or concern about celebrity at this point in my life. Is that her name? Is it Julia Roberts? All right, yeah. Her, that one. The one from the movie.
Oh my God.
Now, I will say this so we can just point out how well Ed's doing, because he was in a major motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Ed's website, the only thing he sells as far as CDs are concerned is this one. So in all the years Ed has been doing this is the sum total of his work.
This is his opus. I mean, once you've created this, where can you even go?
And he's making his own CDs.
Yeah.
Right?
He's burning his own thing.
Yeah, that's a
thin.
Yeah.
This is what I used to use.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with we've done the first 24. We're going to do 25.
Oh, you're going through a...
Yeah. Could you tell us the name of 25?
25. We have enough light here. It's 25.
Did you find it?
Oh, I can't. Hitchhiker?
Hitchhiker.
Hitchhiker. Number 25.
Tony, will it surprise you to know that this will not be about a hitchhiker? Because he got all the titles scrambled.
Maybe it's the next one. The next one's called At the Urinal.
No, it's never. It's not one off. He took the titles and just wrote them.
Yeah.
And so far, out of 24, one of them has been right.
Oh.
So which I would like to point out, as you said, only one of them has been right,
mm-hmm.
and that was the only time where we were like, "Oh my goodness, Ed got it," and then we immediately went back to, "No, he didn't."
No.
You know what that is? That's setting expectations. So when you hear one that's right, you're like, "This guy's good."
I mean, out of 100, statistically, you have to get, I think,
So
the number
apparently-
is like 20% or something of them right.
So how many of these does he have? Is it 100?
It's 100 of the funniest jokes he's ever heard.
So then he's right now 100% or
Yeah, he's one for 24.
98% wrong.
Yeah. So here's number 25. This is going to be painful. It's only 58 seconds long. Thank God.
So this third grade class in New York, the teacher says, "Okay, class, today our assignment is to use the word beautiful in a sentence." So little Johnny raises his hand. "Yes, Johnny. My mom is beautiful." Very good, Johnny. Anyone else? Susie? "The trees outside are beautiful." "Oh, very good, class." She said, "But this seems to be a little too easy. Let's try to make it a little more difficult. Let's use the word beautiful twice in a sentence." So the class is quiet for a minute, and then finally a little Carmine in the back raises his hand and says, "Well, Teach, my sister, she's 16 years old, and she came home from school the other day and told my father she was pregnant. And he said, beautiful, fucking beautiful."
Whoa! What is this? What is happening?
I don't know.
What is the music?
Is that the first time it's been music?
Yes.
You know what that is?
What the fuck was that?
Wait, I'm gonna open this thing right quick, and
The very first track had a
that's
wacky.
I bet that's the closer. Let's see.
Oh.
You're a genius.
Is it? I can't read it.
Nope. Number 100 is Dinner Table.
No, but I think you're right, because the very first track starts with wacky music. So he got that, but it wasn't
He
right.
put the music on the wrong track.
That has to be it. Or, just to give you a little break from the hilarity, he's doing it every 25 tracks.
Well, can I ask you this?
Like, you're so... this guy's hurting. Like,
listen,
I can't take all this comedy. I have to take a little break.
Give him a little music interlude there.
Right.
So why don't you...
So this guy...
Sorry, go ahead.
After you complete your mission of listening, why don't you give him a call?
That's what I want in
and
life.
Interview him on the show about this CD.
We
Find out
we don't know. I mean, with all that celebrity,
what's his marketing genius behind this?
We are giving him a lot of free publicity with this.
I know.
I think
we'll get him into a better film.
I want him on the podcast.
Get more lines.
Right.
I don't know if I will be respectful toward him or if I will berate him the whole time. But regardless, once the interview's over, in front of him will shoot myself.
Well, here's how you approach that, because you want to find out what the hell was he thinking with this CD. But the guy has good stories, or they'll seem good, about his movie experiences.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to,
Tell us about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
and by the way,
tell me about track 42.
I think you're right, Tony. I think that was supposed to be the last
Put
track.
it on the wrong.
Well, he didn't. He put the titles in a jar and just pulled them out. He didn't.
Well, he didn't even
match
edit
them up.
the song to the right bit.
Right, yeah. Oh my God. But
You're gonna put this on the last track. It's gonna play the
This
music.
thing never stops giving.
Right?
It just when I thought I'd heard it all from Ed. We've done 25 of these, and fucking he keeps throwing me curveballs. God damn it, Ed.
That's how you keep people intrigued.
Here's the thing I'm very curious about now, right? Is because again, took a look at his website, still fucking selling these.
Yeah.
So if we bought.
So no, that just means he overprinted them.
That's like the Rubik's Cube of CDs.
Right.
What's it gonna land on?
I'm just saying, if you bought another one of these, are you going to go through the same thing, or is it going to be completely different?
He couldn't have produced each one individually.
You never know.
I can't accept that at all.
He may have 100 versions
of 100 funniest jokes. And if you get one with a golden ticket,
you get the CD in order.
then you get to visit Ed's Joke Factory with magical midgets running around.
Telling the same 6th grade street jokes you come to know and love.
That's amazing, man.
Oh, Ed, I hate him. I hate him so hard. All right, Rafiq, tell us what number 26 is not going to be about.
Number 26 is not going to be about At the Urinal.
It's already funny.
Right.
I'm already laughing.
Before you click.
So this guy
before I click.
Too late. No, it's too late. Go ahead.
Go ahead, no.
No, I was going to say I was going to start with you hear the urinal.
Oh, that's way too artistic.
Yeah, I know.
Every joke does start with...
But we already know it doesn't.
Every joke does start with the word so.
So this guy walks into a bathroom, he stands up at the urinal, and next to him is a black guy.
Hey! Woo! All right, 2 for 2, Ed! 26 tracks, he's got 2 right! You crazy bastard! By the way, the guy next to him was a black guy, so we're going to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed, all right, we're starting over. Here we go.
Deep, too.
So this guy walks into a bathroom, and he stands up at the urinal, and next to him is a black guy. And he says to the black guy, he said, "Pardon me," he says, "I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful." He said, "But can you help me out and answer my question?" He says, "Why do you guys have such big penises and are so good at sex?" Okay. And the black guy says, "Well, let me tell you, this is how we do it." He says, "We put it in real slow and we take it out real slow. Then we put it in real fast and take it out real fast. And that's how we do it." So the guy says, "Wow, thanks." So he goes home. And that night he has sex with his wife. and it's awesome. And when it's all done, he says, "Hey, honey, did you notice anything different?" She says, "Yeah, you just fucked me like a black man."
What?
Okay.
Maybe the music was supposed to be on that track.
Right.
Why do you have big penises
Right.
and fuck so good? Here's how you fuck. That's not the answer to that question.
No, it's not. I would also like.
Oh my god.
Oh my
I would
god.
also like to point out that there is absolutely no way you would walk up to a dude at the urinal and start off with that question. It's not even like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's like, "Hey, how do you fuck so good?"
I got an ice.
Why do you have big penises? Why is that? Can you give me the science behind that, please? Stranger at the urinal. That was one of the worst ones yet.
I like how it's not even like a joke.
That one, like-
the punchline is you fuck like a black guy, and it's like that's just a statement of fact in this universe,
That was pretty bad, man.
That one took something out of me.
right?
That one really.
I hope the next one starts with "so."
Well, let's find out. I bet it does.
So these 12 priests are about to enter
Of
priesthood.
course it did.
And the bishop isn't sure if they're ready or not, so he says, "I'm going to try something a little different with you guys." He lines them all up and says, "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to take all your clothes off and you're going to be naked. And I want you to tie this bell
And you're gonna
onto
be
your
naked.
penis. And I'm going to have beautiful naked women walk by you. And if anybody's bell starts ringing, I know you're not ready." So the 12 guys get naked, they put the bell on their penises, and they're standing there, and these beautiful women start walking by. And one guy's bell starts ringing violently. So much so that it falls off and hits the ground. And when he bends over to pick it up, 11 other bells start ringing.
No, because they were homosexuals.
So this couple...
I would like to point out something.
By the way, if you didn't notice, that other one started with the word "so."
I would like to point out something. Ed is now officially 3 for 3 because that joke was titled 12 Priests.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Could it be that something happened with just the first 25, but the rest of them are okay?
Let's mix a quarter of them up.
Could it be that the first 25 were his first CD that he sold, and then he just recorded 75 more on the back of
I
that?
don't know, dude.
So
Because number
rough.
27 is 12 Priests.
Oh my god.
Number 28 is 60 years married, so...
You're gonna take off your clothes, so you're gonna be naked. That right there, that's what he does, man. He just, he has to, like... I guess he thinks the word naked is funnier.
Did
so
you
he's-
see this guy live?
My sister-in-law bought that for me on a cruise. And
So he's working cruises?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
he's
sincere
working-
gift because she
He
liked
was
him.
on the Tonight Show, Jay Leno.
Yeah. He was
This
doing
guy's
some-
getting paid a lot of money on those cruises
Right?
to say "so."
So this guy, no.
So this guy walks into a kitchen.
So the woman, usually, I don't want to say usually, that's a little bit of a stretch, but often Ed elevates the room and everybody kind of has a good time laughing at Ed. I feel like Ed really brought down the room today.
Yeah.
I feel a little sadder.
I'm upset at Ed.
Right.
Tony's not happy. How you doing over there, Rafiq?
You know what? I don't respect what he stands for at all. But you know what?
I mean, look.
He sold this.
You said you respected him.
No, I'm saying I don't respect what he stands for. I respect the man because he fucking sold this.
I give him credit for keeping a couple of those things in order.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Good job, Ed. So he's up to 3. He got 3 of them right.
You know what my favorite thing
Foreshadowing
is?
of the closer was pretty good
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Closer
Is if you ever listen to At the Urinal Again, the thing I find so amazing about that, and I didn't think about this until now, is Ed sounds depressed when he's talking about it. So it almost sounds like Ed is has gained a conscience at some point of like, oh man, these are good.
But I'm committed to this.
Sounds like he's reading.
Right.
Yeah, he's just like sitting there reading. So
Right, he's just got a Prairie Home Companion joke book open in his lap.
I'm going now. You haven't heard as much as we have, Tony, but I'm going the complete opposite because the number of times he started filling in details that he didn't need to fill in, and almost started going off the track and had to bring himself back. He's just spitting these jokes out he heard when he was in 6th grade. And then he just thinks that they're fucking hilarious. Well, they're the 100 funniest jokes he's ever heard.
He has. Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was it.
Yeah, just remember when you're not getting booked at, insert comedy club and theater.
Ed's getting work.
Right?
Ed. Ed's getting comedy part or
movie
deals.
parts. Freaking selling his thin CD.
I bet you he's selling this
jewel case ass CD.
I bet you he's selling it on the lot too.
Man, that's funny.
DiCaprio's walking by. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, Leo, you want to buy a CD?"
I've got my version of this. Don't worry.
So I'm on the set with Leonardo DiCaprio.
That would almost be the start of a joke, though. So you can't give that to Ed.
So I'm hanging out with.
That'll be his next CD.
Elephant. Well, it's been an hour. I'm miserable. Thanks, Ed. Tony, it's been excellent having you here.
Ed's a dick.
Ed's a real piece of shit.
He's a peace bastard.
He's a peace bastard. Tony, you got anything you want to... This won't be out soon, but anything long-term, social media, or anything you want to tell us about?
No.
He's like, I don't want anything associated with my neighbor Ed.
I'm working on some stuff, but there's nothing that people are going to be... I can tell them time and place right now, so...
Well, can they find
just keep it... Yeah, you can follow
Twitter?
me. Yeah, follow me on social media. Tony GAUD. GAUD.
Oh, not like the Lord.
Not like the Lord, more like gaudy. As in cheap, shiny objects.
You should go. You should do a little bit more of a Liberace thing when you go on stage.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it. Like a little glitter. A little more glitter would help.
A little more glitter.
But yeah, just
funnier than that.
Yeah, follow me on there, and I usually announce stuff and things, projects I'm doing, dates I'm going to be performing, and. Anything like that, yeah. And sometimes I'll post, like throwbacks of, some of the stuff like from the music scene, back in the music days, and the
we want to hear some deuces.
Early comedy. Yeah, I'll have to get the
Right.
record. I have to find it, man. But I think there's like maybe one or two.
Was it a letter R? Deuces letter R?
Hell yeah!
Was it? Yes.
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 Yes. Of course. And it was a card.
Oh yes, it was. Yes, it was.
It was everything you thought it was going to be.
I love it.
But I'll have to get that for you, man. Yeah. And if you want to check out the music, if you want to go on YouTube and find some of this stuff, I think I've actually got a couple of things on a playlist on my page.
Nice.
So yeah, so you can go in there and goof on me.
All right. Well, that's really what all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Where can I insult him? Right here. We're very convenient.
That's what social media is for, right?
That's it, man.
Well, I'm Alan Dempsey.
And I am Rafiq Shaheen, and with us
was Mr. Say it again.
Tony GAUD.
Tony GAUD. And thank you again, Tony, for being here. It's been a blast.
Thanks, brother.
So, how about this?
So how about this?
How about it?
How about that?
What about this?